Donald Trump has a new position on abortion. He says it's up to the states to determine what to do, but he also reminded voters in a statement Monday that he has nominated conservative justices to the Supreme Court, making good on a promise that helped him get elected with the support of anti-abortion rights voters in 2016. Those justices overturned the right to abortion in June of 2022. CBS News senior White House correspondent Weijia Jiang has more.
Former President Donald Trump suggested today that the federal government should stay out of the abortion rights debate.
My view is now that we have abortion where everybody wanted it from a legal standpoint, the states will determine by vote or legislation or perhaps both, and whatever they decide must be the law of the land, in this case, the law of the state.
The remarks followed months of mixed signals from the former president, owning his part in overturning Roe v. Wade just as he did today.
Since I was proudly the person responsible,
but refusing to commit to a national abortion ban, even while suggesting in the past he would support one.
When you heard his remarks, were you surprised at all?
I was surprised and disappointed.
Marjorie Dannenfelser, the president of Susan B. Anthony Pro-Life America, spoke to Trump on the phone this morning and thinks the door to a federal ban remains open.
But I actually do think that he will get there. I really believe that, because I believe that there was something that compelled him to stand strong and defend fearlessly every single Supreme Court justice that he put up. He never gave up on any of them. I don't think he'll give up on this.
President Biden, who was in Wisconsin today, unveiling a new plan to forgive student loan debt for millions, agreed with her.
If MAGA Republicans put a federal ban on his desk, he'd sign it.
His campaign promptly released a new ad featuring a Texas woman who says she nearly died twice, unable to get the abortion she needed following a miscarriage.
The blanket that she was in.
And blaming Trump for enabling state-level bans on abortion passed since Roe was overturned.
And Weijia Jiang joins me now from the White House. Weijia, Donald Trump once supported abortion rights. He's also called it murder in his career. Where does his latest position land him relative to his previous stances?
Well, it still leaves open the door for him to tweak his stance, John, and I think that's why many of his supporters are frustrated, because he hasn't exactly spelled out one way or another, but he says that the federal government essentially should stay out of it, that it should be completely up to the states to determine abortion laws. This comes after weeks of sending mixed messages. You know, at one point he said he was open to a federal abortion ban, that he just wasn't ready to commit to how many weeks that ban ought to be. There was mounting pressure on him to say he was in favor of a 15-week ban. And, you know, he had said in previous interviews and public comments that, you know, he was still deciding on that factor. And so this really doesn't shut that door. He doesn't say outright one way or another if he thinks there should be a federal ban. But certainly this is not exactly what pro-life supporters of the president wanted to hear.
And those who support abortion rights say that this is about the woman's fundamental right to choose what to do with her body. Where does Trump's position put him then relative to the national views about that question on abortion?
Well, I think President Trump, the former president himself, has said that this is a political issue for Republicans that could be damaging, that it's clearly costing them at the polls. And I think this is an attempt to get closer to what really the majority of Americans believe, whether it comes to, making sure abortion is not criminalized, supporting abortion medications, giving women the choice. And in our most recent poll at CBS News showing that the majority of country believes that the reversal of Roe v. Wade was bad. So all of these things were glaring before Trump, and, you know, he is a politician, and so I think this is his attempt to move away from views that were losing support for him.
And once he gets in office, what are some of the reproductive rights related legal issues or just matters that he might come into contact with if he becomes president?
Well, there's very little that presidents can actually do with regard to abortion laws, which is exactly why, even though President Biden was here in office, Roe v. Wade was overturned. But when it comes to money, that is one thing that his administration has power over. In fact, this administration just signed off several millions of dollars and asking for billions more for research in reproductive rights and different issues that pertain to women and medications that we take. And so that's where he could have some influence here. But in terms of the law, that's really up for the courts and for Congress to decide, John.
Weijia Jiang at the White House. Thank you, Weijia.
Sure.